Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series on analog electronics. This lecture series is a part of Let's Crack the Gate initiative by TechUp faculty. Today we are going to discuss about a diode circuit that itself gave the old name for a diode, and those circuits are called rectifiers, and we'll see what rectifiers do. Okay, so a rectifier is a circuit that converts a bidirectional signal to a unidirectional signal. It converts bidirectional signal to unidirectional signal. Or in other words, it converts AC to DC. That is the simplest definition of rectifiers. Now, before we get into rectifiers, we need to see some performance parameters of rectifiers. In analog electronics, we will only be learning about the signal related performance parameters. The power related performance parameters will be taught in the power electronics lectures. The first performance parameter is called average value, or it is also called DC value. Let's say we have a signal, and that signal is represented by V of t, a function in time V of t, and let's say the time period of that signal is t. The average value or DC value is given by 1 by t integral over 0 to t V of t dt. This can be applied for any signal. Second performance parameter is called RMS value, and you know this RMS is root mean square value. So we have a signal that we discussed earlier. That signal is given by a function in time as V of t, and it has a time period t. And when you want to find out RMS value, you have to look at the definition. Definition is root mean square value, and go from right to left. Okay, so VRMS can be found out by first square the signal V of t all square, then find out its mean 1 by t integral over 0 to t V of t square. So this gives the mean square value of the signal, then find the root of that. So this will give you the RMS value of any signal. Okay, VRMS is equal to under root 1 by t integral 0 to t V of t square dt. So before we get into the third parameter, we have to see if we have a signal V of t and it contains both DC, VDC, and some sinusoidal signal Vm sin omega t. Then what will be the RMS value of this signal V? So VRMS will be given by root of VDC square plus the RMS value of this signal. So I call it VAC RMS. The RMS value of Vm sin omega t is called VAC RMS. VAC RMS square. So this is the RMS value of a signal that contains both DC and AC signals. After this, we discuss our third parameter, performance parameter. After this, we discuss our third performance parameter, and it is called ripple factor. Ripple factor gamma is given by VAC RMS divided by VDC, which is the average value. So from the above relation, we can see that VAC RMS is equal to VRMS square minus VDC square under the root. It is divided by VDC, that gives us ripple factor. So root of Vrms square minus VDC square divided by VDC. So we can take this VDC inside and find out the value of this. It will give us root of Vrms by VDC the whole square minus 1. So this is the value of ripple factor in terms of Vrms and VDC, and this is ripple factor in terms of VAC RMS and VDC. Okay. And this ratio Vrms by VDC, it is our fourth parameter. It is called form factor, and this form factor FF is given by Vrms divided by VDC. So we can write our ripple factor gamma as root of form factor square minus 1. Now our fifth performance parameter, it is called crest factor. So crest factor CF is equal to V peak divided by Vrms. Is the peak value of signal divided by RMS value of the signal. Then there is the next performance parameter of a diode. It is of a diode. It is called PIV, which is peak inverse voltage, and this is the maximum reverse voltage that can be applied to a diode. And the seventh performance parameter is efficiency. We all know efficiency as output power by input power, but in case of rectifiers, there is a small thing to be considered, and that small thing is our output power is DC. So efficiency is output DC power, and also our input power is AC. So divided by input AC power. So with that, we can now analyze our rectifier circuit. So our first rectifier circuit is called a half wave rectifier. When I draw this circuit, you will feel that you have already seen the circuit somewhere else. Let's see. So here we have our input, and in half wave rectifier we have only one diode, the diode, and then we have our load resistance. This is the load resistance, RL, D, and V in. We will analyze these circuits with sinusoidal waveforms. The input is sinusoidal, so V in is Vm sin omega t. This is the same circuit as a series clipper, right? So we know the working of a series clipper, so this also has the same working. But let's see if you have already forgotten that, we'll see it again. So during the positive half cycle, the anode of the diode will be more positive compared to the cathode. In that case, diode is turned on. Diode is forward biased, right? So what will we get at the output? Here we have our output, V out. So at the output we will get the input voltage. During the negative half cycle, I am using HC for half cycle. During the negative half cycle, this point is more negative compared to this point, our diode anode is now at a negative potential and cathode is at a positive potential, and diode will be reverse biased. When the diode is reverse biased, it will act as an open circuit. So output and input are disconnected, diode is turned off, and output is equal to 0. There is nothing at the output. So this is the working of a half wave rectifier. And in this case also, we have assumed that our diode is ideal. So we can see the output waveforms. This is our input sine wave. Now the output will be, during the positive half cycle, we will get the entire input voltage at the output. So the output will be, say this is the 0, same as the input voltage, and during the negative half cycle the output is 0. Again, during the positive half cycle, diode gets turned on, we will get the output, and during the negative half cycle, output is 0. This is our V in and this is our V out. We have already seen this in series clippers, so you are familiar with the circuit. Now we need to find the performance parameters of this circuit. So this is what the output looks like. Zero to pi, then to pi to 3 pi. We know that for a sine wave, an entire cycle means 0 to 2 pi radians, right? So first we need to find the average value, that is DC value of the output. At the starting I have told you that a rectifier converts AC to DC. How is this a DC voltage? Because it's unidirectional. There is no negative half cycle, and so this is unidirectional. Or another way to look at it is that if the average voltage is not 0, then that signal is not AC. So this is DC voltage. Now for our first performance parameter, we will find the average value of this output signal. Okay. So when we find out the average value of this waveform, instead of integrating it with time, we will integrate it with angular displacement. So in this case, our V average or VDC is going to be 1 by 2 pi, is the entire cycle, which is the entire cyclic period, integral over 0 to 2 pi V of omega t d omega t. Okay, this omega t is actually theta. So this is V of theta d theta. So we will be integrating it corresponding to theta. Now 1 by 2 pi remains the same. When we look at this integration, our output has a value until 0 to pi. So we will split this integration to two parts. One is 0 to pi, and during 0 to pi, this is a sinusoidal waveform. So we can write it as Vm sine omega t and integrate it with respect to d omega t, plus next interval will be from pi to 2 pi, and from pi to 2 pi the value of this signal is 0. So 0 d omega t. So it will give us 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to pi Vm sine omega t d omega t, and that will be 1 by 2 pi into Vm Sin omega t's integration is minus cos omega t from 0 to pi. When you substitute the limits inside, it becomes 1 by 2 pi Vm into minus of cos pi, that is minus of minus 1 will become 1, minus of cos omega t, that is plus cos omega t, and omega t's value is 0. So plus cos 0, which is also 1, and this will give you 2 Vm by 2 pi or Vm by pi. So this will be the average value or DC value in the case of a half wave rectifier. So VAV is equal to Vm divided by pi. Next performance parameter is RMS value. Vrms is equal to root of 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi Vm sin omega t V of omega t all square d omega t. Okay. Now this becomes 1 by 2 pi integral. We don't have to consider 0 to we don't have to consider pi to we don't have to consider pi to 2 pi because its value is 0. Even if you square it, that part will be 0 only. So we only have to integrate from 0 to pi, and from 0 to pi the value is Vm sin omega t, square it, then integrate it. Okay. So this is 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to pi Vm square sin square omega t d omega t. Now this can be written as root of 1 by 2 pi. Vm square can be taken out. So Vm square integral 0 to pi, and sin square omega t can be written as 1 minus cos 2 omega t all divided by 2 into d omega t. Now this is equal to Vm square root of Vm square divided by 4 pi, I am taking 2 outside, then integral 0 to pi 1 minus cos 2 omega t d omega t. Now I can take out this Vm square out of the root, and it becomes Vm, and this 4 out of the root, and that becomes 2 into root of 1 by pi integral of 1 d omega t will be omega t, cos 2 omega t integral of cos 2 omega t d omega t will be 1 by 2 sin 2 omega t, and the limits are 0 to pi. Okay. So when we do this, it's equal to Vm by 2 into root of 1 by pi into, apply the limits here. When omega t equal to pi, this omega t becomes pi minus, when omega t equal to pi, this sin 2 omega t is sin 2 pi, which is 0, minus 0 minus of, when omega t equal to 0, this becomes 0 minus, when omega t equal to 0, sin 2 omega t becomes sin 0, that is also 0. Now what is left in this bracket? It is only pi, and this becomes Vm by 2 into root of 1 by pi into pi. Pi and pi cancels. Root of 1 is 1. So the RMS value is Vm by 2. Now the next parameter is form factor. Form factor FF is given by VAC RMS divided by VDC, which is the average value. In this case, RMS is Vm by 2, average is Vm by pi. So form factor is pi by 2, which is 1.57. Okay. Now if we know form factor, we can find out the ripple factor. Ripple factor gamma is root of form factor square minus 1, that is root of 1.57 square minus 1, and it will be given by 1.21. Now the next parameter is crest factor. Crest factor CF is V peak divided by V RMS. Here V peak is Vm, V RMS is Vm by 2. So crest factor is 2. Then the next is PIV, which is the maximum reverse voltage across the diode. So when we look at this circuit, during the positive half cycle, the diode is forward biased and there is no reverse bias across the diode. And during the negative half cycle, the maximum reverse voltage across the diode will be this value, which is minus Vm. So in this case, peak inverse voltage of the diode is equal to Vm. Okay. We can also define something called a conduction angle, and the conduction angle is the angle for which the diode is conducting. That we can see from the output voltage profile. The conduction angle will be pi only, right? Now we want to see how a rectifier diode circuit works when the diodes are practical. Okay, so practical diode half wave rectifier. The circuit becomes, this is our V in, Vm sin omega t, and instead of drawing this diode, we will change it by its equivalent diagram. So equivalent circuit of a diode is like, now this is the ideal diode. This is V gamma, the threshold voltage of that particular diode. This is the RAV of the diode, and this is the load. And here we have our output. Okay. So in the so here we can draw the input and output waveforms. This is V in, which is Vm sin omega t by 0, and this is now omega t. Okay. Now when we look at practical diodes, this diode can turn on only when the input voltage is greater than V gamma. And we know that V gamma is a small voltage, around 0.7 for silicon diodes and around 0.2 for germanium diodes. So only when this voltage, input voltage, is greater than this V gamma, our diode will be turned on. The similar way, When the voltage is below V gamma, diode will be turned off. So our output voltage will look like this. This is V out. This is pi, and here we have 2 pi. And this small angle can be denoted as phi. Now in this case, we can see that our conduction angle has reduced. So the new conduction angle will be equal to, instead of pi, it will be pi minus 2 phi. From pi, phi is reduced here, another phi is reduced here. So conduction angle is pi minus 2 phi. And this phi can be found out. That is, when omega t equal to phi, V, this is V gamma, Vm sin omega t and V gamma are same. That means when omega t equal to phi, V in equal to V gamma. So that means Vm sin phi equal to V gamma and phi equal to sin inverse V gamma divided by Vm. So from this relation we can find out phi, and from this value of phi we can find out the conduction angle. Now we will see some more terms so that we can find out other performance parameters. And next thing is the value of IL, that is the current flowing through load resistance RL. First we will draw the waveform for this. So the waveform will look exactly like V out. Okay, this is IL, and IL of omega t is given by V out of omega t divided by RL. Okay, so in this case we can find out the efficiency. So efficiency is given by IDC square RL, this is the output power, divided by the input power, which is I RMS square into RAV plus RL. IDC square is V average divided by RL the whole square into RL divided by IRMS is V RMS divided by RL the whole square into RAV plus RL. You can cancel RL square from here. So VAV divided by VRMS the whole square into RL divided by RAV plus RL. We can approximate this VAV divided by VRMS whole square to, we have already seen the average value in case of ideal diode. So we will approximate it into average value, which is Vm by pi, and RMS value is Vm by 2, this whole square into RL divided by RAV plus RL. So that is 4 divided by pi square into RL divided by RAV plus RL, which is 4 divided by pi square into 1 by RAV by RL plus 1. We know that RAV, that is the resistance of the diode, is very small compared to RL in most of the cases. So RAV divided by RL can be approximated to 0, right? It is a very small value compared to 1. So 1 plus RAV by RL becomes 1 when RAV is very much less than RL. When RAV by RL is very much less than 1, we can call it this efficiency as eta max, because this is the maximum efficiency possible in half wave rectifier. So this will be given by 4 by pi square, and that value is 0.406. In percentage, it is 40.6% efficiency. Now we can also draw the transfer characteristics of this practical diode based half wave rectifier. If you remember, transfer characteristics is the relationship between input and output. So here we have our input voltage, here we have our output voltage. So until V gamma is reached, there is no output, and also when Vin is negative, there is no output. When Vin has reached V gamma, V in and V out will have a linear relationship with a slope of 1. First, V in and V out are the same. This is the transfer characteristics of a half wave rectifier with practical diodes. Now our next circuit is called a full wave rectifier. We will see why it is called a full wave rectifier. There are two circuits available for full wave rectifier. One is called a center tapped rectifier, and other one is called a bridge rectifier. First, I will show you the center tapped transformer full wave rectifier. Here we have a transformer. Primary and secondary. And the secondary is center tapped. There is a tapping at the center. We have a diode here, another diode here, another diode here, and we have our load here. This is RL, and this is the output voltage V out. Now here we have our input, which is some Vp sin omega t, and when it is transformed, it will give us Vm sin omega t here, also Vm sin omega t here. We'll also see how the input and output waveforms looks like. So this is V in, this is V out, and this is load current IL. Okay. Now during the positive half cycle, we know that this end is more positive compared to this end. So this end will be more positive compared to this end, and this end will be more positive compared to this end. Now when you look at the diodes, let's name them D1 and D2. The anode of D1 is connected to a more positive voltage than the cathode, and the anode of D2 is connected to a more negative voltage than the cathode. So in this case, diode D1 will conduct, and the current direction will be like this. So when the current is flowing like this, what will be the output voltage direction? It will be as shown in the figure, plus here, minus here, and IL direction is also the same. And what will be the output? The output will be same as Vm sin omega t. So if this is our Vm sin omega t, and one more thing, we are assuming ideal diode C. So during the positive half cycle of the input, the output will be this is Vm sin omega t, which is what we consider as the input, not this. Okay, so the output will be the same as Vm sin omega t. Now during the negative half cycle, what happens is this bottom point is more positive compared to this point. So this is more positive compared to this, and this is more positive compared to this. Now when we look at this circuit, diode D1 has an anode which is connected to a more negative supply, and diode D2 has an anode which is connected to a more positive supply. So D1 stops conducting and D2 starts conducting, and when D2 conducts, the current flows in this direction. So here also we can see that the load current direction is the same as previous case. So the output will be as shown here only. The output will be positive. So this will be the output, and this repeats again and again. So when this is the output, what will be the load current? Load current will always have the same direction. Okay, this is IL, which is V out divided by RL. So when we look at the circuit, one of the diodes is conducting for the entire period. The conduction angle is given by 2 pi. There is conduction throughout a period of 2 pi. Now as usual, we need to find the performance parameters. First parameter is average value. This is the output DC value. Now when we try to find out the average value, we have to actually look at the output voltage profile. So when we look at the output voltage diagram, we can see that the time period of output voltage. How much is the period? Not time period. The period of the output voltage is pi. It's not 2 pi, because this waveform is repeating every 180 degree, right? So the period of output waveform is pi. So our average value will become V average, or VDC will be equal to 1 by period, which is pi, integral 0 to period, which is 0 to 2 pi, Vm sin omega t. There is no change in it. The output value is Vm sin omega t only, d omega t. So that is 1 by pi. When you integrate Vm sin omega t with respect to d omega t, it becomes Vm into minus cos omega t, and the limits are from 0 to pi. So it becomes Vm by pi into minus cos pi minus minus of cos 0. This Vm by pi into minus cos pi is minus of minus 1, which is 1, minus of minus is plus, cos 0 is 1. Now the average value is 2 Vm divided by pi. Next we will find the RMS value of the output voltage. So we know that Vrms is given by root of 1 by period, which is pi, integral 0 to period, which is also pi. We know that V of t is Vm sin omega t, so Vm sin omega t 0 to pi whole square d omega t. This is given by root of 1 by pi integral 0 to pi Vm sin omega t whole square becomes Vm square sin square omega t d omega t. I can take Vm square outside, it becomes Vm square by pi integral 0 to pi sin square omega t becomes 1 minus cos of 2 omega t all divided by 2 d omega t. Okay. So I can take the 2 outside, so it becomes Vm square divided by 2 pi. Then I can integrate 1 d omega t, when integrated becomes omega t, minus cos 2 omega t, when integrated becomes sin 2 omega t divided by 2, and the limits are 0 and pi. So it becomes Vm square by 2 pi under the root into, I can apply the limits when omega t is equal to pi, this becomes pi minus sin 2 pi, which is 0, then minus of omega t when omega t equal to 0 is 0, minus sin 2 into 0, which is also 0. This becomes root of Vm square divided by 2 pi into pi, and that is given by Vm by root. So this is the RMS value. Now we can find out the form factor. Form factor FF is given by Vrms divided by V average, which is Vm by root 2 divided by 2 Vm by pi. That will be pi by 2 root 2. And this value is 1.11. Now, if we know form factor, we can find out the ripple factor. Ripple factor gamma is given by root of form factor square minus 1, and the value is 0.48. After that, we can find out crest factor. Cf is equal to V peak, which is Vm, divided by Vrms. Vrms is Vm by root 2. The answer is root 2. Okay. And the last thing is PIV. So to find PIV, we'll go back to the circuit and we will look at the circuit when a diode is reverse biased, because PIV is the peak inverse voltage and the diode is reverse biased. Let's say diode D1 is not conducting, so it will be acting like an open circuit. So across this we get the diode voltage plus or minus Vd. Now if you look at the circuit, diode D1 will not be conducting during the negative half cycle. So during the negative half cycle, our supply will be like this, plus minus Vm sin omega t. Then again you will have a minus plus Vm sin omega t here, because that is the output. So you can apply KVL here and find out VD. You can see that VD is equal to Vm sin omega t plus Vm sin omega t. That will be equal to 2 Vm sin omega t. So what will be the maximum value of VD? That is when this value is maximum, that will be 2 Vm. So PIV of the diode in center tapped rectifier will be equal to 2 Vm. Now we can see the practical case, that is when the diodes are practical. Let me show the transformer secondary. Now each diode is represented by its equivalent circuit. And we are making one assumption here, and that assumption is both the diodes are similar in all aspects. So here we have V gamma, RAV, ideal diode. Here also V gamma, RAV, ideal diode. This is our load resistance, our V out. So unlike the previous case, we are also introducing the source resistance, which is RS, which is the resistance of this entire secondary winding. So each half will have a resistance RS by 2. Now let's see how the output looks like. This is V in, this is V out, and this is load current IL. Now we know that there are two voltage levels of the diode, and they are each V gamma. For silicon diode, we know that this V gamma is around 0.7, and for germanium diode, this will be around 0.2. So unless the voltage across the diode becomes more than this voltage, the diode cannot conduct. Okay, so until V gamma is reached, the output is 0, and after that we will get the entire sine wave. And again, when V gamma is reached, again the output becomes 0, like this. Then during the negative half cycle, the other diode conducts, and we will get the output like this. Okay, so this is V out. This is our omega t. This is pi and 2 pi. Now this small angle is denoted as phi. Okay, the current waveform will look like this. It's called this IL dash, and this is IL double dash. To denote that these two currents are flowing because of two different diodes. So in this case, IL dash is given by Vm sin omega t minus V gamma divided by Rs by 2 plus Rav plus RL, and IL double dash is also given by Vm sin omega t minus V gamma divided by Rs by 2 plus Rav plus RL. Now if the diodes were different, the V gamma of these, if the diodes were different, V gamma in these two equations will be different. Also RAVs will be different. Now if we look at the conduction angle, you can see that previously it was 2 pi. When we introduce practical diodes, there is a angle phi for which there is no conduction. So here we have phi, here we have 2 phi, and there is one more phi here, in total 2 pi angle. That means the conduction angle is now equal to 2 pi minus 4 phi, and phi is given by sine inverse V gamma divided by Vm. So just like before, we can find out the conduction angle from this relation. Now we can find out the efficiency. Eta is given by IDC square into RL, which is the output power, divided by IRMS square into RS by 2 plus RL plus RA. This is the input AC power. Now IDC is VDC divided by RL square into RL, and IRMS is VRMS divided by RL whole square, and that into RS by 2 plus RL plus RAV. Okay, now this becomes VDC by VRMS the whole square into RL divided by RS by 2 plus RL plus RAV. Now we have already found VDC. VDC is 2Vm by pi, and VRMS is Vm by root 2 whole square into RL divided by RL plus RAV plus RS by 2. Becomes root 2 goes above, Vm cancels. So this is 8 by pi square into RL divided by RL plus RAV plus RS by 2. Now we can apply a condition. That condition is RL is very much greater than RAV plus RS by 2, and during this condition we get maximum efficiency eta max as 8 by pi square. This value is 0.8106. In percentage, this value will be 81.06%. Now we can see what is a bridge rectifier. This is the second type of full wave rectifier. Here we have a bridge circuit. And we can apply our input here. This is V in, which is Vm sin omega t. Now we have our output connected here. This is RL plus or minus V out, and this is the positive direction of IL. Let's name the diodes. This is D1, this is D2, this is D3, and this is D4. Now, during the positive half cycle, we know that this point is more positive compared to this point. So this point is more positive compared to this point, right? So when this point is more positive, the anode of diode D1 is more positive compared to its cathode. So diode D1 start conducting. When we look at diode D2, its cathode is connected to a more negative point, so its anode potential is more compared to cathode potential. So diode D2 also conducts. When we look at D3, its cathode is connected to a positive potential, so cathode potential is more than anode potential, so it is reverse biased and not conducting. Similar way, D4's anode is connected to a negative potential, so this is also reverse biased, so it is also not conducting. So the current direction is from source through D1 through load through D2 and back to the. So if you look at the current direction, we can see that our positive load direction and current direction are the same, so the output voltage will be positive. During the negative half cycle, this point, the bottom point, is more positive compared to the top point. So when we look at the diodes, diode D1's anode is connected to a more negative potential, so diode D1 does not conduct. Diode D2's cathode is connected to a more positive potential, diode D2 is reverse biased. Diode D3's cathode is connected to a negative potential, so anode voltage must be higher, so diode D3 is conducting. Diode D4's anode is connected to a positive potential, so diode D4 is also conducting. Now the current path will be from source through D4 through load, then through D3 and back to the. So this will be the current direction. So if you look at the current direction, we can see that the current direction remains the same. It is same as the previous case. So output will be positive. So the waveforms looks exactly like this. Average value is the same, RMS value is the same, form factor, ripple factor, crest factor are also the same. If you do a practical analysis, that is also the same, and maximum efficiency is 81.06. The only difference is in PIV. Let's say diode D3 and D4 are conducting, diode D1 and D2 are not conducting. So the voltage across D1 plus the voltage across D2 will be equal to 2 Vm sin omega t. So the maximum value will be 2 Vm. If both the diodes are same, then this is 2 Vd, which is equal to 2 Vm sin omega t. So Vd will be equal to Vm sin omega t. That means the PIV of a diode in a bridge rectifier will be Vm only. This is the only difference. All the rest of the things remains the same. So this is all for today. In the next lecture, we'll come back with Zener diode and some problems.